A chosen one doesn't come across messages like this by coincidence. Pause for a moment, because this is not something that randomly drifted into your life. This moment is an intentional intersection, a divinely arranged encounter that has been forming in the spiritual dimension long before your awareness caught up with it. You are not simply reading sentences on a screen. You are stepping into a sacred alignment, a spiritual cue meant specifically for you. Something around you has changed recently, something you might struggle to describe, yet you can sense it in your chest, in your energy field, in that quiet inner pull that never lies. There is a pressure, a weight, a vibration around you that wasn't present before. A tugging, a stirring, a spiritual alarm that has been echoing through your atmosphere. This is not confusion. It is not emotional noise. It is not fear masquerading as urgency. This is divine intensity. This is the heavens signaling, pay close attention. This moment is monumental. You might have believed you stumbled into this message by curiosity, coincidence, or scrolling without thought. But the truth is, you were guided here with purpose, because you are being called into awareness, clarity, and readiness. What you have been experiencing is not random or aimless. It is intentional. You have stepped into a higher spiritual stage. And this message is the universe's way of whispering, I need your focus now. What you've been sensing but could not properly verbalize is about to be revealed. This instant marks the beginning of a profound spiritual shift. A massive breakthrough has already begun forming, and you now stand right at the threshold of transformation. The heavens have waited patiently for you to reach the vibrational point where this revelation could finally be delivered. Now that you've arrived, everything begins to unfold. The last several weeks felt overwhelming, draining, and nearly unbearable, and you've been trying to understand why. You weren't falling apart, you weren't malfunctioning, you were under spiritual intensity, pressure that was preparing you for expansion. Every moment of heaviness, every wave of confusion, every emotional upheaval and unexpected shift wasn't punishment. It was spiritual labor. Breakthroughs are birthed through pressure, and that pressure was the evidence that something extraordinary was forming. That chaos did not arrive because your world was collapsing. It arrived because you were right on the edge of a transition your spirit has been destined for. When a chosen one approaches a new dimension of purpose, the spiritual environment tightens. Everything feels amplified. You felt exhausted because old energetic contracts were dissolving. You felt disconnected because outdated timelines were shutting down. You felt irritated or unsettled because old versions of yourself were being shed. You were being stretched beyond your comfort, so you could step into the identity aligned with your divine path. Even when the pressure felt unbearable, you did not break. You passed the test. You didn't fold under the weight. You endured. You didn't quit, even when quitting seemed easier. You held on, even when it felt like everything was slipping away. What felt like spiritual fire was heaven finalizing a process. This was preparation, purification, evaluation. And now that you have crossed the threshold, you are being handed access to what was previously inaccessible. There was a specific moment, maybe subtle, maybe dramatic, when something inside you finally clicked into place. You made a decision that may have seemed small in the physical world, but was monumental in the spiritual realm. Perhaps you established a boundary you had never been able to create before. Maybe you walked away from a person who drained your energy. Maybe you abandoned a habit that kept you limited. Maybe you released a mindset that kept you stagnant. Maybe you chose peace instead of engaging in conflict. Maybe you opted for healing instead of reacting impulsively. That decision was the shift heaven had been waiting for. It signaled a leap in your vibration. When that moment occurred, the spiritual realm responded instantly. Angels repositioned themselves. Low vibrational forces were forced to retreat. Timelines reconfigured. Obstacles that once felt immovable began dissolving. Your frequency rose so sharply that anything misaligned with your next level had no choice but to detach. And heaven declared, "Now my chosen one is prepared." That choice you made became the key that unlocked a flood of transformation. Before blessings can manifest, you must declare your openness. Saying, "I am ready," is not casual language. It is a spiritual agreement. It is a declaration that aligns your energy with what the divine is bringing forth. When you speak those words, you activate permission. You communicate to the spiritual world that you are open, available, and receptive. You affirm that uncertainty has been replaced by expectation. Words shape energy, and energy shapes reality. When you say, "I am ready," you are telling the divine, "I accept the blessings awaiting me. I welcome the elevation. I receive the miracles." These next blessings are not vague. They are specific, time-sensitive, and life-shifting. Your declaration opens the pathway for them to move from the unseen realm into physical manifestation. The moment you finally released what the divine had been asking you to let go of, everything started shifting. For a long time, heaven had been attempting to elevate you, reposition you, and bless you. But you held on tightly to something that could not move forward with you. You resisted letting go due to comfort, fear, attachment, or habit. You may not have realized it was blocking your progress, but spiritually it was consuming space meant for your next level. Heaven saw the emotional weight, the draining connections, the outdated identity, the soul ties that kept you tethered. And recently, something snapped. You loosened your grip. You surrendered. You told yourself a truth you had been avoiding. You allowed something to end that was long overdue. That act of release was your spiritual key. It unlocked movement that had been waiting for your alignment. Because you let go, the gates opened. Blessings that were delayed, not denied, are now free to flow toward you. The divine was not withholding your blessings. Your hands were simply too full to receive them. Old attachments acted like energetic blockages. They limited the flow of the miraculous. The spiritual laws that govern manifestation cannot place new blessings into hands still carrying the old. Your release created a spiritual emptiness that was necessary. It cleared the field, removed stagnation, and dissolved the anchors pulling you backward. The very moment you surrendered, heaven recognized you were ready. And once readiness was detected, the gates that were previously sealed opened with ease. Blessings long prepared for you can now arrive without obstruction. Right now, behind the scenes of your physical life, massive movement is occurring on your behalf. Angels that were previously restricted due to energetic interference are now actively working. Darker forces that had access through old attachments or unhealed wounds have lost their foothold. Prayers you whispered months or years ago are finally being released because the spiritual conditions required for their manifestation have been fulfilled. Your life isn't unfolding according to chance. It is unfolding according to divine principles, and those principles have shifted in your favor because you shifted. Everything is aligning, everything is organizing, everything is flowing in the direction of breakthrough. What felt stuck is unsticking. What felt stagnant is beginning to move. What felt delayed is accelerating. The divine is in motion on your behalf. Your obedience wasn't a transaction, it was a transformation. You didn't release the old because you were trying to earn blessings. You released it because you evolved past it. You let go not for reward, but because misalignment became unbearable. That transformation is what moved heaven. The divine does not respond to manipulation. It responds to authenticity, evolution, and truth. You have become someone new, and heaven mirrors that evolution with access to new blessings, new opportunities, and new levels of purpose. Now, 5 major miracles are being prepared for release. These are not symbolic or metaphorical. They are tangible, visible, concrete breakthroughs scheduled to appear within the next 30 to 90 days. Some will come quietly, disguised as small opportunities. Others will appear suddenly, dramatically, undeniably. Some will require discernment to recognize. Some may seem like coincidences at first glance, but they are coming and they cannot be stopped. Prepare yourself, because doors that were locked for years are about to open with effortless grace. These are not ordinary doors, they are destiny doors. Doors that lead into chapters of abundance, alignment, healing, restoration, love, clarity, elevation, and purpose beyond anything you have experienced before. These are sacred doors, doors designed specifically for your destiny's unfolding. You knocked before and nothing shifted. You tried repeatedly and still nothing opened. You pushed, you planned, you hoped, yet the doorways stayed sealed. Not because you lacked worth or capability, but because the timing was misaligned and you had not yet grown into the version of yourself capable of carrying what waited behind those doors. Now you have matured spiritually, emotionally, and energetically, and those doors will open without strain. The opportunity you once lost may reappear. The job you once applied for may reach out again. The relationship aligned with your evolution may enter your life. Ideas, approvals, invitations, access points, and openings you once longed for will begin returning. These are divine doors, crafted by God's orchestration rather than human force. This time you will not need to push, you will only need to walk through. Provision is about to flow into your life in ways that will surprise you, emerging from sources you did not foresee. This is not limited to finances. It includes resources, supportive people, opportunities, collaborations, spiritual aid, connections, healing, and divine alignment. You are stepping into a chapter where lack will no longer define your experience. Even if you find yourself in a financial desert at this moment, understand that this scarcity was preparation. The emptiness produced the capacity required for abundance. The hunger created the readiness for overflow. Provision is coming through divine channels, unexpected deposits, refunds, gifts, offers, partnerships, and supernatural favor. Individuals will feel urged to bless you. Systems will reorganize themselves in your favor. Circumstances will naturally align to support you. Yet you must stay faithful in the silent space before manifestation becomes visible. Do not lose hope right before the downpour begins. This next miracle may feel uncomfortable, but it is vital. God is cleansing your environment. People who are not aligned with your calling will begin to fade gently from your life. There will be no dramatic fallout, no explosive conflict, just quiet distancing, slow drifting, natural separation. Messages will stop arriving. Conversations will lose momentum. Invitations will vanish. Those who once demanded your time will lose interest. Do not chase them. Do not question their departure. Do not cling. These individuals cannot accompany you into your next level. They would drain your focus, interrupt your progress, or sabotage your evolution. Their exit is divine protection. Release them freely. New spiritually aligned, elevated, and supportive people are on their way. Expect your spiritual gifts to heighten rapidly. Your intuition will sharpen. Your discernment will become more exact. Your dreams will carry prophetic clarity. You will sense guidance with intensity. Signs, synchronicities, and confirmations will multiply around you. Your prayers will gain greater power and yield faster results. Your ability to perceive energy, truth, hidden intentions, spiritual danger, or divine nudges will expand noticeably. You will feel the presence of God speaking more clearly than ever before. But these gifts come with responsibility. Use them with honesty, humility, and purity. They were not given for ego, but for purpose, for service, and for alignment with your highest path. One of the greatest miracles heading your way is clarity. For years you have felt called but didn't know the specifics. You sensed destiny but didn't know the direction. You felt chosen but were unsure where to begin. That fog is lifting now. Divine revelation is approaching. Your purpose, your mission, the reason your soul came into this lifetime, it will crystallize within you. You will understand why certain seasons felt painful, why certain people entered and departed, why certain lessons were necessary for your development. Everything will begin to make sense. And once this clarity arrives, the universe will reorganize everything in your life around your purpose. People, opportunities, ideas, inspiration, resources, and supernatural support. However, be mindful that spiritual warfare often increases right after your purpose is revealed. Stay grounded. Peace is the frequency where miracles manifest. Chaos, drama, toxicity, and distraction function at a lower frequency that pushes blessings away. Protect your peace with intention. This requires boundaries, limited access, energy protection, and refusing to entertain conflict that drains your spirit. Peace is your armor. Guard it diligently. Gratitude accelerates manifestation. When you thank God before the blessing arrives, you activate a spiritual magnetism that pulls the blessing into your physical life with greater speed. Gratitude is not merely a reaction to what you receive, it is preparation for what is coming. Begin expressing gratitude now for what has already been released in the unseen realm. The enemy will attempt to draw you backward through old relationships, old habits, old temptations, and outdated versions of yourself. These are not invitations to return, they are tests to validate your transformation. Forward is your only direction now. Do not return to what God already freed you from. Miracles often arrive disguised. Some appear as small opportunities, some come as new ideas, some arrive in the form of connections, some begin as subtle shifts that grow into life-changing breakthroughs. Stay alert, remain aware. When even a small door cracks open, step through it with confidence. Your participation is necessary. When your miracles manifest, speak about them. Sharing your testimony seals the blessing spiritually and sparks activation for others who hear it. Your story becomes someone else's reassurance that breakthrough is real. Your blessings will not arrive one at a time. They will come in waves. Everything that was delayed, restricted, or held back will pour into your life like a dam bursting open. You have endured years of preparation, and now everything is converging at once. Overflow will define this season of your life. These 5 miracles are not the conclusion. They are only the first wave. This marks the beginning of a long period of alignment, favor, manifestation, and accelerated divine momentum. Your entire reality is shifting into a higher timeline. This is not a season for hesitation. You must move boldly. You must speak boldly. You must accept opportunities boldly. You must cross every open doorway without doubting yourself. Heaven is in motion. Step into rhythm with it. Your breakthrough is not on its way. It is happening right now. Even as you read these words, your miracles are already aligning. People are thinking of you. Decisions are shifting in your favor. Opportunities are gravitating toward you. Provision is approaching your life. This is not wishful thinking, it is spiritual certainty. Heaven has approved your elevation. Divine law ensures that obedience produces reward. What was once blocked is now open. What was once delayed is now accelerating. What was once resisted is now secured. It is already so.